Well, mate, here at the 2021 GASGAS launch, the new repositioned, fun new GASGAS under the KTM group banner. I was pretty smoked, I've got to say, after that 3-hour trail ride today. Like, man, I did some grass tracks. I was gagging. So by the time I got back here, learned to fly a motocross facility just out of Oberon, Central Tablelands. Super happy to hand it over to you. I mean, it's a pretty cool facility, isn't it? How good is it?
Yeah, it's an unreal track. Like the main track behind us here, it's got everything from small doubles up to big tabletops, so it's great progression. And then opposite us here, you got lots of tracks for the kids to learn how to fly, essentially.
Yeah, a good opportunity to test these new bikes. So, mate, they talk about a condensed range. They haven't got a shed load of bikes. So you got a 125, which I think you were, by the look of it, you were loving that thing, as you do with two strokes, and then the 250 and 454 strokes. So they've got all the classes covered. I've got to say, I was surprised, for a brand that positioning itself as fun and and approachable and a perfect pathway into. Why no 250? Do you think? Or do you think a range is missing not having that 250 in it?
I don't think so. I've had 250s in the past, and they're great when you're really fit and you're like kind of die-hard motocross guy, but for me that ride's predominantly more bush now, and I jump on a motocross track here and there. I love getting on something that's a little bit lazier. So the 250s, they're not a handful, but they're just...
52 stroke, you say?
Yeah.
But I was saying the 354 stroke. Why not a 354 stroke? That middle ground thing that's gonna, you can ride sort of both ways.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I did miss the 350. It's always that in between kind of best of both worlds feel, but it was the first time today I've jumped on the 450 and really loved it. It's not something that ripped out of your hands. It wasn't super aggressive. It almost had that real nice smooth characteristic that you find in the 350. So I wasn't looking for the 350. I was quite happy just cruising around on the 450.
I think you came in and said it feels like a club and 450 bike, and you didn't mean that in a derogatory way, but sometimes you can get on, like some of the other bikes, whether it's KTM or Husky or some of the Japanese brands, and it just like, sing from the rooftops about the power and the thing. It can be pretty intimidating, but obviously it's a more linear power, the 450 with the Husky. From a spec point of view, it's sort of slightly down spec with a few things like sort of wheels and tyres, and it hasn't got a few extras like the. But did you miss any of that, or was it actually the perfect bike to get people in, which is what they're trying to do with these machines, bring people into the fold, into the high performance fold, and sort of wean them onto, I guess, KTM and Huskies at some point down the track.
Yeah, I think motocross bikes should be simple. They're there to ride on the track. You don't need all the go fast bits unless you want to race it. And they're not going for that racer crowd with these bikes. They're coming in with a little bit lower price, making it easier for a guy to go out and buy a new bike instead of buy a 3-4 year old clapped out motocross bike that might have all the go fast gear on. Yeah, they're just really comfortable to jump on, and I wasn't looking for any more power on the things. I thought they were really smooth and nice to ride.
I saw you overjump a couple of tables. I think I even saw a flat landing out there. Now, we've been lucky enough to get out with some of the WP Explore Pro and the Enduro bikes. Obviously with the Air Forks, the WP Exact. What do you think about the Air Fork? Because sometimes you can try not sort of think about it too much. But what was your take? Because I saw that you was almost like you're winching, but you rode out of the things pretty well.
Yeah, like I do a lot where I take the EXE or the other enduro bikes to the motocross track, just because that's what I normally ride. So a few jumps that came up short, and I was just waiting for a big bounce or a big huck, and the thing's just. It's not like you don't feel it, you feel it, but they're still track straight and just a lot more predictable. And air's awesome because it's adjustable, so you don't have to go up and down spring rates, which also keeps the price really low.
All right. Okay, you're getting a sort of newbie into the sport, you're trying to attract them with the machines. Pretty cool looking bikes. I think the motocross in particular, right? The enduro bikes actually sort of tail off white through the rear end of the things, but it's the Ducati or the Ferrari of the kind of, in terms of looks anyway. You like them?
I like them a lot. Red on red suits it.
Yeah.
A lot of bikes are kind of going now colour on colour, and it's almost like that imitating the free ride look that people do aftermarket wise. Like either black out a bike or you blue it out, or like to red out a bike. It's pretty damn cool.
And in terms of the shape of the plastics, okay, it's not a biggie, but I noticed, I think you said they look like your radiator shrouds, you thought looked like a 2012 KTM. They're sort of slightly longer as opposed to being sort of knuckled down, which is what the modern day Katos and even Huskies have.
Yeah, they do. And that's good because the 2012 KTMs and stuff were a little bit prone for snagging your leg on and that kind of thing. So they've learnt from that by rounding them up so your leg doesn't get caught in between the radiator guard and the frame.
Yeah. So, what's your pick, mate? 125. You seem to be having most fun on the thing, but you're pushing 85 kilos, something like that. You're probably a bit big for a 125. You said that you like, and it was non-intimidating getting on the 450.
Yeah.
Did the 254 stroke win you over, or?
I started on the
What's your poison?
125 and I came in and I was frothing. I'm like, I'm going to love this thing and nothing else is going to beat it. And then just did the progression, went 250 and then 450. I ended up liking the 450 the most. Just had that playful nature, but it was still stable and you could feel like a bit of a hero. Like the 125 and the 250, you got to ride it hard, you got to hit your marks. But the 450, you can come in, you can stuff up your corner a bit, but you can still make all the jumps. So it's perfect for a guy that wants to go to the motocross track and kind of fit in with the crowd kind of thing. So you got the power to get you around the track and get yourself out of trouble, but it's not too much so you're shitting yourself.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the spec. There's a few things that these bikes don't have, or a few down-spec components.
Yep.
But you're also dealing. Let's have a look with the KDMs. You're talking about sort of $700 or $800, give or take, and on the Husky. Well, sorry, GASGAS compared to KDM, GASGAS compared to Husky. We're talking about sort of $900 to $1,000. Is that sort of differential significant for a guy coming into the market? Or does it say, because some of the Japanese bikes are a little bit cheaper than the European? Is it also saying, hey, we'd like to take sales from the Japanese brands as well?
Yeah, I think it opens a lot of Japanese riders' eyes, especially if they've looked at KDM and looked at the success, but for one reason or not, would never see himself on a KDM. And the Husqvarna's has always been that premium product where they're just out of your price range. So to come in and be even cheaper than a KDM and almost hit the same mark, I think it's really good and they'll spark a bit of interest.
And are you going to be like losing your shit over going, oh, but I haven't got billet triple clamps, oh, but I haven't got a map switch selector, or is it, well, I've also saved myself $1,000, so I don't kind of need them. I can pop mine later if I need to. That's the kind of thinking, right? There's no use actually speccing these things identical to the two sister brands, right?
No, and they're not claiming them to be ready to race either. Like the difference between the triple clamps, I personally can't feel. The cast ones are meant to flex more and the billet ones are meant to be more rigid, but unless you're in that top caliber where you're putting the bike exactly where you want it every single lap, you're not going to feel the difference. I'd normally say, like before the launch, you might want that map selector switch because I thought a 450 might be gnarly and you might want to tame it down, but it's really easy to ride and fun to ride.
Last question, mate. There was one promise we had when we were coming out here with these new bikes. GASGAS, fun. Did you have fun?
I did.
Bam, fun.